The results for the South African elections held on the 29th of May are in. The ANC, as predicted by most polls, got 40.22% of the vote, while in second place the Democratic Alliance DA got 21.77% of the vote. Jacob Zuma's MK party, formed just 6 months ago, came third with 14.6% of the vote and is regarded by most analysts as the big surprise and the winner here. So the EFF of Julius Malema, which for the past two elections has been coming third, this time around came forth with 9.51% of the vote. So the ANC has lost its majority, and in order to form the next government, it will have to go into a coalition. The most likely scenario here is a coalition with the second biggest party after last Wednesday's election, the Democratic Alliance. John Steenhuisen, the DA's party leader, said that the party's main concern is to put the interests of the country first. A coalition with the DA is what big business favors. DA politicians and ANC senior figures seem to get on very well. On the screen there is Helen Zille, chairperson of the DA's Federal Council, in a friendly chat with the ANC's Nomvula Mokonyane and Minister Gwede Mantashe at the Results Operation Center in Midrand. To the options that are open in terms of for coalition to the ANC. The first option is a coalition between the ANC and the Democratic Alliance as the junior partner. Under this arrangement, the ANC forms a government while the DA controls parliament, including the key post of Speaker of the National Assembly. And the DA is likely to chair the parliamentary portfolio committees. So what is the appeal of such an arrangement? For in the first instance, it is what big business wants, and it would bring much needed investment to South Africa, and it will also result in stability and boost much needed confidence in the economy. However, there are risks to the ANC entering into a coalition with the Democratic Alliance. The first one is that for a party whose founding ideals are fighting for the poor majority, it does not sit well that the ANC is seen as returning the beneficiaries of apartheid to the reins of power via the back door. To most black South Africans, the scars of apartheid are still raw. The DA controlling parliament and providing oversight or supervision, as some have labeled it, is a return to master-servant relationships. This reminds most black South Africans of the hated practice of apartheid, where blacks had to work under the supervision of their white masters. It is unthinkable, some have suggested that, and it would not be acceptable for a liberation movement like the ANC to enter into a coalition with the DA, a party most black South Africans associate with racist policies of apartheid, and the DA, working in its Western Cape stronghold, has been seeking to promote the interests of those who gained under apartheid. Some are saying this is a betrayal to the sacrifices made by the heroes of the anti-apartheid struggle, such as the likes of Chris Hani and Walter Sisulu and Nelson Mandela himself. The other argument is that the ANC has been accused of selling out on its founding ideals, that is, addressing the needs of the poor black majority. The ANC has been accused of worrying more about protecting the privileges of its elite, such as access to tenders at the municipal level and even having bodyguards and blue lights. The second scenario that is open to the ANC in terms of a coalition is that the DA agrees to cooperate on particular steps required for the government to function. That is, the election of the president in the National Assembly and the passing of the national budget. Under this scenario, the DA would get concessions from the ANC on key pieces of legislation, including the National Health Insurance Act, which was passed 2 weeks ago by President Cyril Ramaphosa. Coincidentally, option 2 is what is favored by Ramaphosa and the ANC top leadership. And what would the DA get in return for this? The DA is likely to secure key positions within Parliament, like I have said, such as the Speaker of the National Assembly. And this deal would allow it to hold the executive to account, such as control of Parliament's oversight committees. The DA is also likely to demand greater devolution of powers to the provinces, which suits its voter base in the Western Cape. Like option one I have discussed above, there are risks to the ANC here. First of all, the ANC coalition with the DA poses the risk that it might never be able to return to its glory days of a majority in Parliament. It will be just another party. Some have even said that under this scenario, the ANC will sleep forever and it might never wake up. The EFF and the MK under this scenario will be the biggest beneficiaries. And some have observed that it does not matter which option the ANC chooses. Whichever option it picks up, it is bound to lose its voter base anyway. That is the black working class in townships and the rural areas. So what about the ANC going into coalition with Jacob Zuma's MK party? The MK has got the numbers to get the ANC past the 50% threshold. However, the first hurdle is the question of what happens to Cyril Ramaphosa. The AMK has hinted that it will only talk with the ANC only on condition that Ramaphosa is not part of the ANC. In other words, the MK has laid its first condition as the resignation of Ramaphosa. MK party spokesperson Mulo Ndlela has made it clear that the MK will not engage with what he called the ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa.
First answer you must give. Second, you're asking me about the Cyril Ramaphosa ANC.
On the other hand, the ANC itself has categorically stated that the Cyril Ramaphosa is not going anywhere and he is staying as head of the ANC. This is Fikile Mbalula, the ANC Secretary General, speaking at the National ROC in Midrand.
Ramaphosa is the president of the ANC, and if you come to us with those demands, forget.
So that rules out a coalition with the MK, at least for now. Then what about the ANC going into a coalition with the EFF? Party has got 9.5%, and in mathematical terms, the ANC will still need another party to join the coalition. And that works against a coalition between the ANC and the EFF. However, Malema, unlike the ANC, has said that he would work with the ANC regardless of whoever is leading it. On the other hand, the DA has stated that an ANC coalition with the EFF in it is a recipe for a disaster. John Stina Eisen has likened such a coalition as leading to economic chaos Zimbabwe style. Some people have observed that the DA is engaging in fear-mongering, using the threat there will be capital flight if there is a coalition between the mainly black parties to form the next government. And interestingly, Helen Zille is already preparing for the DA as the leading party in South Africa. She has stated in interviews that the DA's job is to prevent what she called a doomsday coalition of the ANC, MK, and EFF. Thank you so much for following this piece, and please don't forget to subscribe. And if you have anything to say about this, please drop your comments below. Thank you. Bye.